So so the reason that happened is whenever I'm recording, like the phone shop calls or the call interviews, like when I call you or whoever, I have it recorded to two different audio tracks, and the reason is that in case like if I cough while you're talking, I can just cut that out. No one needs to hear that. You know what I mean? So
Sure. That makes
anyway,
sense.
that audio track was not being fed through to the stream, but they can hear you now.
Great.
So, yes, everyone can hear you. Josh, let's, first off, guys, if you have any questions for Josh, ask them, and I will obviously keep them respectful, and we will, we will obviously do our best to answer them. I know Josh will be able to see it as well. And then additionally, Josh and I will just be talking a little bit, kind of like what we normally do for our calls, which you guys may or may not know is when Josh and I talk, we generally talk a little bit before and even a little bit after the call. So, just shooting the word you don't say on YouTube. I don't know. Maybe you can't say it. I don't know. But
You don't want to get your stream flagged.
right. So let me ask you this, Josh. Since we actually haven't talked to you since Monday, I know you were technically in Friday's video, but that was recorded as Monday as well. How have things
Yep.
been in the shop this week? With silver going up over 25 and gold hitting a new record high.
Yeah. Well, to put it mildly, it's been a wild week, and it's been an interesting week. Um, there were days, well, that quite literally I bought more across the counter than I sold. Uh, there were a couple days where, gosh, we probably bought 4 to 5 times more in dollar amount from the public than we did selling. So selling kind of stalled off, interestingly enough, until Friday, when gold really started charging up and touched and passed, and now it's at an all-time high. I had my busiest day of the week on Friday and sold 15 ounces of gold at or around its all-time high.
Wow.
Which quite frankly, I've predicted that before. That's just kind of what happens. The ones who have been on the fence, should I buy gold? Should I buy gold? Well, once it gets in the news cycle again, gold near an all-time high, gold at an all-time high. Oh, maybe we should go pick up some gold now. Well, I hope for their sake it continues to climb. But, those waiting on the sidelines try to buy low.
Yeah.
But that's typical human nature that there's an uptick in business as metals are charging upwards.
Yeah, I guess to me like people they see it going up and they get that FOMO. They're afraid that they're going to miss out. It's like, "Oh, maybe this is the time. This is the time that gold rides to, 2500 or 3000 and they want to make sure they're in on it when it happens." And I don't know, to
Yep.
me like responsible stacking means buy it when it's cheaper, not when it's more expensive. But I don't know, especially when it hits the news cycles. And keep in mind, guys, of course, as always, we could always be wrong here. But usually when it hits the news cycles and everyone's buying, that's generally the time you don't want to be getting in, right? Or am I wrong there?
Well, I think history would tell you, yeah, you're absolutely correct. But, I personally believe we're in kind of an interesting time where obviously metal prices are always pretty unpredictable. I mean, nobody can truly predict where they're going to go, but there's just so many reasons metals should be quite a bit higher than they are, and they're finally starting to move up. So it's really hard to know, is it going to continue? And if it does, we might look back 6 months from now and wish we would have bought more at today's prices.
Right.
Or, it might go the other way too. So it's really hard to know, but I think a lot of these people that, waited till the last couple of days to buy gold, especially because it was at or near an all-time high when they were buying. Like I said, they've just been on the sidelines, not sure what to do, not sure what to do. They finally see some positive movement upward in the spot price, and that triggers them to buy, because, oh, it's going up, I'm going to buy it now because I can see the potential in it going up even more because it went up already.
Right.
I think that's the mindset. It's not always a accurate mindset, but I think that's what a lot of people are thinking, just talking with customers that come in.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I'm not trying to say that, or make fun of those customers or say that they're wrong. I'm just saying I'd be more interested in buying gold when it's like in the 17s than in the 2100 range. But I mean,
Well, of course.
you can't. Yeah, I guess you can't predict the future, though. I mean, if they really do think it's going to continue to ride up, I mean, more power to them. I mean, it's certainly not a dig at those people at all. That's not how I look at it. When I start seeing stuff hitting those all time highs, it's where I'm like, all right, is this, is this it, or is it just going to pull back? And, I don't know. I just kind of wait for it. But what about the guys in the chat? Guys, what do you do? What do you do when, and they won't hear this, there's probably a 10-second delay, but what do you guys do when gold is riding up like this? What do you think? And then additionally, guys, like I said, if you have any questions for Josh that you want to ask, if not, we'll open it up. Right now, Josh, just so you know, only channel members can chat right now, so there's probably not a whole lot of channel members in here. But once we open it up, there's 332 people watching right now. So as soon as we open it up, I imagine we're going to get quite a few questions. It says, James wants to know, do either of you see the price of precious metals rising due to the possibility of a recession? Josh, I'll let you touch that one.
Yeah. And I think we're already starting to see it. Is it directly tied to recession or fear of recession? Partially. Silver Seeker and I have talked on multiple interviews. There's a lot of factors that impact spot price and premiums, which ends up, dictating landed cost for everyone. But yeah, during uncertainty, metals tend to react. And when the economy is not doing well, that's uncertainty. So I think definitely there is potential that metals could rise more. Don't ask me to predict a price or tell you when, because I have no idea. But I, along with a lot of other people, believe there's so many factors at play that are applying pressures that should impact metals in a positive manner. And like I said, we're finally starting to see it versus where we were a couple of months ago.
Right.
Spot prices have went up quite a bit.
Yeah, they definitely have. But I guess my question to you related to that is, why did it take, let's just say, I mean, of course we don't actually know what's going to happen, but let's just say this is finally precious metals reacting to the rising price of everything else. Why do you think it took so long?
Well, we've talked about it before too. There's, like I said, a lot of factors at play. Manipulation is part of it.
Right.
Somebody made the comment, I forget if it was on my video or yours, but we talked about the uptick in prices this week. And somebody commented, yeah, the bankers that are doing the manipulating must be on vacation because they allowed the price to go up, which really made me laugh. I know, it was my own kind of prediction, I guess, per se, on Monday when we were speaking. Silver was around 24.80, if I remember right, when we were doing our call. And my prediction was that I thought silver would probably close a little lower near the end of the month than it was during that call. Well, I was wrong. Silver actually ended up higher. So that tells me, once we broke past that $25 an ounce resistance level, I don't have charts or anything that I can, I guess it's not my video. I don't have charts that I can put up on the screen or anything right now, but there are, many people who study charts. That's what they do. A lot of those people, I'm talking with metals and, different commodities, but resistance levels are a real thing. And, once silver pushed past 25, I don't believe it got under 25. I'm talking this week. And now that gold has passed an all-time high price, and that resistance level was right around $2,000. It bumped into it and backed off, bumped into it and backed off several times over the last 6 months. Finally, it broke through. So now that metals are starting to break through, I believe that fuel per se is there for them to continue to rise. Yeah. I'm not telling you they will, but I think things are setting up to where I think we could see a spike in spot prices.
Okay.
So we'll see.
So keep in mind, guys, I'm going to read this question, but everything we tell you is not financial advice. Please always make your decisions with a licensed financial advisor and on your own. Like, anything we say here cannot be held as legal advice. This is just entertainment. But I wanted to put that out there because of this. He says, would you recommend cashing out a not too large precious metals IRA now while the prices are low, or wait 5 to 7 years? I'm thinking of the tax impact. So I wanted to make sure that disclaimer was incredibly clear before I read that one.
Good question. I'm actually looking at that on my screen here at my shop right now.
Right.
That's a tricky question. I can tell you I've had many customers that have flat out told me that they've cashed out their 401k. Some have been small, some have been quite substantial. I would never recommend to anybody to lessen your diversity as far as investments. I have money in an IRA right now. I have no plans on cashing it out and going all in on metal. Granted, I have a pretty strong position in metal personally and in my business, but a small amount, you said, I don't know what a small amount is. Is a small amount to you $1,000 at that point? Sure. You could, but if a small amount to you is $100,000, that's a big amount to a lot of people. So, I think it's real important, and Silver Seeker's talked about this several times while I've been on the phone with him. It's important to be diversified. So I would be real careful pulling large amounts of money, I should say, out of financial markets and going all in on any one thing, whether it be crypto or gold and silver. Granted, history will tell you there were times to capitalize. Had I been wise, I would have put a whole lot of money into Bitcoin a decade ago.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
that's neither here nor there. So I guess my advice is it really depends on how much you're talking, whether it be a small amount. If it's truly a small amount, a couple $1,000s maybe.
yeah,
That's not much of an IRA to begin with. So sure, I mean, throw it in the metal maybe and see how it does. But I'd just be real careful to try to remain diversified. I think that's very important.
Fair enough. Dropping the mic says, made it and still buying silver here. Premiums are low with sales. Do you want to talk to us about premiums a little bit? But really quick before you do, guys, if you are watching, do me a favor, smash the like. I got a significant amount of dislikes on this, and that's okay. There are people that are probably upset that I have it on members only chat. Again, if you are just getting here, as is pinned at the top of the chat, I will be opening this up to everybody soon. This is just a bonus benefit to channel members. It's not a punishment to those that are not, I assure you. We will be opening up the chat here in another 15 minutes or so to everybody. So just stick with us. But anyway, yeah, get into premiums. What are premiums looking like? I saw a wholesaler at 90 cents. Do you have anything better than that right now? And just give us some idea what's buying and selling in your shop.
On silver rounds, yeah. And you've talked to him before, Dave Peter from Coinhuskers.
Yeah, I need to have him back on. Yeah,
you should. He's a very interesting guy and a great guy. So he's fun to talk to. But I talk to him, well, maybe not every day, but we're at least texting every day. And he has silver rounds right now that I can purchase from him for 50 cents over spot shipped. Those are brand new, fresh silver rounds. Designs are a little limited, but that's a dealer cost, of course. So the viewers don't expect you can call them and get that price, but that's incredibly cheap. I'm assuming the 90 cents you're quoting is upstate.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, they're a great company too, but yeah, Dave is really great with prices. I don't know. Maybe that's a question you can ask him. I don't know how he can make the numbers work out because he really works on a razor thin margin.
Man, too bad he won't let just regular really people buy from him because I'd be calling him.
Well, Dave does. He has a YouTube channel. The public can buy. The prices are bumped up a little bit for the public, but he, I like Dave. He's a great guy, and he's, like I said, he's much more aggressive on turning product, even if he's just making a penny or two and then reinvesting that. So turn and burn, he always says. Turn and burn, tear it up, buddy. That's what he tells me. So,
100%.
But so premiums, have dropped and they're remaining low. One thing I've noticed though, both in my shop and a lot of the online bullion places, they haven't dropped premiums on rounds very much. And you do research on this, but I've looked too just recently because I'll tell you flat out, I'm at $2.50 over spot right now for a silver round in my shop. So just looking at the online retailers, there's a lot of them that are $2.79. Some might be $1.99. But I'll tell you, this dip to 50 cents an ounce just recently happened. I was paying 60 to 65 cents, but I just noticed, I think it was Friday, down to 50 cents. And I'll tell you why that is. We haven't talked about that, but I just touched on the fact that a lot of people are selling to maximize profits, or to take profits, I should say, or fundraising for the holidays. So dealers and wholesalers everywhere are getting overloaded with inventory, and they're getting cash depleted because the buying truly has slowed down. Even though I said I had a great day selling on Friday, somebody bought a bunch of gold, but that's kind of an outlier. So when that happens, dealers are forced to reduce premiums with the hopes that, wholesalers are forced to reduce premiums with the hopes that dealers will order more inventory. So that's kind of the situation a lot of people in my industry and my position are in, where dealers are getting strapped for cash. So there's going to be good deals on the retail basis. And the flip side is, if you bring stuff in to sell it, we're more than likely going to want to pay less because we don't need it. Wholesale costs have went down and it's not moving. So even though these prices are higher, it doesn't necessarily mean more money for the seller.
Right.
That makes sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I do want to take a quick second to shout out Long Lived Coins. Thank you for the $10 super chat. It says great show and guest. I really appreciate that. Thank you. But yes, that absolutely does make sense. A while back, before demand really spiked, I'd actually talked about, because I did, you know this, because that's how we met. So guys, if you don't know how I met Josh from Mintage Coin and Bullion up in Minot, North Dakota, a state I've never even been to. He was actually one of the shop calls that I did, and he recognized, even though I did the voice change, he recognized the conversation. He said, "Hey, that's me," and left a comment, and I got in contact with him, and history. Now he's one of the most frequent guests on my channel. So
I appreciate that.
Glad to have you here, man. Glad to have you here. So Dropping the Bike wants to know $2.50 cash or credit card?
Well, that's cash.
Yeah.
Prices I quote are cash. I do accept credit card purely for customer convenience, but they're going to cover all the fees related to paying the credit card company. I just recently went from 3% to 4% on taking a credit card, and I encourage people not to use a card because I don't like enriching the credit card companies either, but I have it there for convenience for the customers.
Yeah, and keep in mind, guys, they're not making that money. That's the credit card company making that money. They just, that's... People think that credit cards are, well, I won't say all people, but some people believe that credit cards are free. They are definitely not. They are a cost to businesses. There was a long time there. There was a long time there, right, where you weren't allowed to charge more for people to use a credit card, right?
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
it's probably maybe before I even started accepting credit cards. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so some of the dealers I used to know, like way back in the day, told me that they weren't even allowed to accept credit card because they weren't allowed to charge more for them. So that is something that apparently changed because now everyone charges more for them.
Yeah, well, all those rewards and bonuses that people get with their credit cards have to be paid for somehow, and they're paid for by the businesses that accept the cards.
Right, yeah. No IQ with the $20 saying, "I'm listening" in the background. No IQ, thank you so much for the support. Really appreciate it. All right, guys, we're gonna, let's see, do we have any more channel members with questions here for Josh? If not, we're gonna go ahead and open it up to everybody because they are waiting, I'm sure. We got 408 people watching right now.
Great.
Yeah, and guys, by the way, Josh has his own YouTube channel. Josh, it's called Mintage Coin and Bullion. You can search it. There should be a link in the description. It's a tag link, so if you click his name in the description, it'll take you to his channel. But yeah, get over there and give him a sub if you guys haven't done so yet. Definitely a great channel to follow. And Josh, am I right that you started your YouTube channel because of our interactions? Is that what you told me a while back?
Yeah, well, you inspired me to start my own channel. After our first call, which was, I think it was in March of 2021, maybe, you cold called me. I was sitting in my office at my Burger King. I had a coin shop that I operated part-time. Wasn't sure if my answers to my questions would mean much because at that time I wasn't really a full-time dealer, but we ended up having a long talk, and flash forward a couple years later, I'd still been following your channel and decided on a slow day in my coin shop here, you know what, I've always wanted to start a YouTube channel. I never knew what my content or what my direction was going to be, but God, I have a coin shop. I have knowledge. Let's do this. So I filmed a quick 2-minute walkthrough with no audio, threw it up on YouTube, and boom, I had a channel. So shortly after that, I commented on one of your videos that, I'm still watching, and, I was on your channel a couple of years ago, and you said, yeah, you should be on again. So you called me, and the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Dropping the Mike said that he gets 2% back plus 2% black member on his Costco gold card, so he actually gets that 4% back. So I guess it's technically free for you. You paid the 4%, but you get it back, right? Dropping, is that right?
There you go. There you go.
Scott Hockenberry says no question, but great show, as always, a good discussion. Scorpio wants to know, what is the oldest coin Josh has gotten in the shop?
Oh, that's a good question. I could give a date range. Ancients, obviously, is going to be the answer. We've had a lot of, or not a lot, but several ancient coins come in through the years.
My assumption is that he meant U.S., but I could be wrong.
Well, okay, I'll answer both. Yeah, I would say widow's mites, which were around during, the zero, I guess, the year zero between BC and AD. Oldest U.S. coin, I did have a 1793 large cent, which was part of a larger collection. I think it was maybe on Monday. We talked about an 1856 Flying Eagle cent. Remember that conversation? The 1793 large cent was part of that same collection. That was a first year large cent that I sent in for a customer and got it NGC certified, and to authenticate it more than anything, because then again, that's not a piece you see every day. But I ended up ultimately selling that for that customer.
Yeah.
So that was the oldest U.S. coin I've ever had.
The oldest U.S. coin I own is 1796 large cent, or no, 17. I don't know. I have a 1798 large eagle for sure. I don't know if I have a large cent older than that. Is my large cent 18? I don't know. Gosh, I have to look at it again.
I'm gonna have to check now.
I'm gonna have to double check. It's locked away. I don't even have it here, but I don't even remember. I don't remember what year it is. Oh, talk about blanking. Guys, I want to welcome Coin Crew into the chat. Another great coin shop owner and great channel. And he says, where did his comment go? Oh, he says, we used to give a cash discount before we could charge the credit card fee. Okay, so you just get around it by advertising your prices as credit card and say, but if you pay cash, we'll give you a discount. That's kind of a way to get around that rule, but I knew that rule was something. I knew that rule was something good. So, yeah, drop into Mike says, Coinker, I remember most businesses growing up had a not advertised discount for cash. Yeah, so that makes sense. So I was right. That rule did exist. Gary S. wants to know, is demand for numismatic coins strong? And how does it compare to the demand for bullion products? That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good question. Numismatics are in very minimal demand in my part of the world anyway. If I had to put a number on it, I would literally say 95% of my sales by dollar are bullion. 5% is numismatics. Granted, there are true coin collectors that do come in after certain key dates or looking to fill holes in collections and sets. But that's honestly a pretty rare occurrence. Most people are in here looking to buy the modern bullion. And when I first decided this is something I wanted to do and start as a business, I truly believed, because I was a coin collector first before I became a precious metal investor in my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believed I was going to be a coin shop, selling coins, collectible coins. But I found out quite quickly that's not where the demand was. And granted, I finally opened a physical storefront in 2020. And that was a pretty wild year with what was going on in the world with the global shutdown and all that. But I've been in business since 2014, so I've really seen some ups and downs. But I quickly realized that I'm a bullion store that also sells coins. Yeah. And I'm fine with that. And honestly, since then, I've kind of morphed more into that direction in my personal life as well. I'm a stacker first, a coin collector second. And there's coins I maybe used to dream of owning at some point. Let's just say a 1895 proof Morgan silver dollar. There was 880 minted, and to get a decent one, you're going to pay $50,000.
Right.
Well, if I had an extra $50,000 lying around, I'm sure not going to buy a silver coin that has 0.7734 ounces of silver. I'd rather spend 50 grand on silver and gold. So I've really kind of changed my direction as my customers have shown me. That's just kind of where the market is right now as far as interest.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So, and I kind of see that as well. If you go to a coin show, there's definitely numismatic coins selling, and there's certainly a lot of dealers there with them. But there's a lot of bullion moving around, and you see a lot of people crowded around the bullion tables when it gets busy more than anything else. Guys, you can remove your dislikes. We opened it up to everybody. So I did turn on everybody can chat. Guys, if you have any questions for Josh, feel free to put them in the chat. And I am glad to have you here. So we officially, are you ready for this? This is crazy. My average video has a like to dislike ratio of like 99.2, 99.3% in there. We are currently at 89.2% like to dislike on this. People did not like that I did not have comments on for everybody. Again, it was just a bonus benefit for the channel members, my friends. It was not going to be the entire stream, as I pinned at the top of the chat. But anyway, Sir Alfred says I enjoy On the Level Josh. Every time I have you on, he calls you On the Level Josh, by the way.
Yeah, that's the nickname he coined for me. He comments on my videos as well. So
good.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate the channel support. Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's see. Bro, Matthew Cressler says, bro, I won the auction giveaway on West Tennessee Exchange Auctions. That's awesome. Congrats, man. Winning giveaways, it's what's up. Bob Lisk says, so this looks like a question, how do you feel being that gold has hit 2074 times now and it is about to break to a higher level? I think he kind of touched on that, but if you want to give some more.
We did touch on it earlier.
Yeah.
As I mentioned before, gold really had a resistance level of around 2000, and it butted up against 2000 several times, maybe pushed a hair over, and then it would pull back. Now that we've passed an all-time high, tough to predict. I mean, it's not every day a metal passes its all-time high price, but as we indicated earlier, I think all of the indicators are there giving fuel and energy behind gold to push higher. Will it? I'm confident that it will, but I also think there's going to be pullbacks as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So I hope that answers it in a nutshell. But we covered it pretty well earlier in the stream too, if you watch the playback.
We sure did. And by the way, this stream will be available for you guys to view after. It's not like the auctions where they are unlisted. And granted, keep in mind, my auctions, although they are unlisted, I don't actually remove them. So anyone that saves the link can always go back and watch it, guys, just so you know. I just make them unlisted because it doesn't add benefit to the channel. You know, it's not informational or anything like that. So, you know, they're unlisted immediately, but this one will not be that. So feel free to watch it afterwards or play it back or whatever. Coin Crew says, by the way, he says, I am the opposite of Josh. I collect first and then I stack. Which I do
Nothing
believe.
wrong with that.
I do believe because I've seen some of Keith's coins, and I mean, I'm telling you, he has an eye for very, very high grade, gorgeous stuff. I mean, I believe that my first ever Proof Walking Liberty $50 slabbed came from Keith. So,
wow,
yeah, beautiful stuff. Let's see. Someone said, "Are junk silver coins considered bullion?" I consider them bullion. What about you?
Yeah, I do too. I consider a bullion coin that's bought and sold based on its precious metal content.
Yeah.
And you know, the way we calculate price for, you know, junk silver or 90% silver, call it as you may, you know, it's going to be spot price plus whatever premium times 0.715, and that premium fluctuates just like on a bullion coin based on wholesale cost and market trends. So yeah, I absolutely consider it bullion.
Yep. Hey, J-Dog with the 5 says, no dislike from me, always a like. J-Dog, I love you, man. Thank you so much for the super chat and support. You guys are awesome. Cosmic Creation says, you are the man, Josh, by the way.
Thank you.
Here's a good question. This is from, excuse me, this is from viewer M1. He says, and this is directed at you. He says, Josh, what do you think the current and future market for platinum is?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'll be honest, that's a little bit tricky one that I don't follow too closely, but I have talked about it in the past. It's, you know, we're not too far removed from platinum being a more valuable metal in terms of spot price than gold. It's not that currently. In fact, it's quite a bit less than half. I'm pretty sure platinum sits, I'd have to look, but what are we, $950 or so? And surprisingly enough, palladium is under $1,000 right now too. There was a moment a couple years ago, palladium was pushing $1,900. So future for it.
Didn't it cross 2,000 actually, palladium?
I think it maybe did. I remember there was a frenzy, and I had several customers that wanted palladium, but we couldn't find it. I mean, nobody had it, or nobody was willing to sell it. It was a crazy time, but yeah, now it's half. So does platinum have potential? You know, I have a lot of customers that believe that. I keep very little platinum in the store, but when I do buy platinum across the counter, I have a few customers that I call because they're interested, and I always offer them a good price, you know, just to move it. I'd rather move it to a customer at a wholesale price than ship it off to a wholesaler. So I think there's a lot of belief that that metal is undervalued just based on where it's been in the past in relation to the other metals. But I think part of the reason that platinum, you could argue isn't worth as much, it has a lower spot price than it used to be, is it's not used as much in industry as it used to be. They found other metals that they've been using for the same situations, I guess, in industry and electronics and whatever else. So
Right.
I believe its industrial demand is less, and I think that has had an impact on the spot price. But that definitely could change. So you could look at it as a potential sleeper.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to necessarily continue to go down. So I don't think it's a bad investment, but it's just hard to predict how much it could go up.
For sure. And just so you know, I don't know if you're looking at the screen, I did put up a palladium chart on the screen. And
yep, I see it right now.
I'm way behind on chat, by the way, guys, just so you know, because I'm trying to scroll through chat a little bit at a time so I can catch all the questions.
$3,300 palladium?
Yeah, one day, March 8th of 2022, 3308. I knew it was over 2,000 because I have a Palladium Eagle that I ordered and I sent it off slab, still sealed. I never opened it from the mint, and it came back as 70. And
oh, great!
Yeah, it's a beautiful coin and it's still in my collection. But man, maybe I should have sold it when it was 3. I don't know. I could have bought it back cheaper today. That's how it goes.
Yeah, and look where palladium is today. I mean, it's hovering right around 1,000. So I mean, talk about a roller coaster. That would make you feel sick. It's almost like Bitcoin.
Yep.
I mean, the roller coaster that's been on.
Oh yeah. Jack Stacks wants to know how much platinum and palladium come through your shop.
It's minimal. Like I said, when I do get it, I tend to call customers so I can move it quickly. But I do currently have 5 ounces of platinum in the shop. Somebody came in about a week ago, actually right before Thanksgiving, and sold 5 1-ounce platinum Valcambi bars. So as far as palladium's concerned, it's pretty rare that I get palladium. I think I've bought 1 ounce of palladium from the public a few times, and other times I've bought fractionals, like 1/10 ounce, or one. I got to remember now. I think they were bigger than 1 gram, but they were actually bars in a gram form. I think they might have been 5 gram. So It doesn't trickle in very often because it just doesn't have the interest, I guess, as the other metals right now. But that could change.
Veronica says, feeling FOMO, so hard not to buy on the upswing. I think we spoke on that earlier, but that's kind of where I was talking about how people, they see it going up and they want to catch it in case it keeps going. One thing I don't do on the channel is I don't predict what the spot price is going to be. We can speculate on what it should do, but nobody actually knows. I think, I tell people all the time, even the experts, the people you see writing the articles that are posted on Kitco and so what, and they're like, oh, it's going to do this. And I do get that resistance levels are a thing, and I do get that support levels are a real thing, but I mean, a broken clock's right twice a day. That's all I'm going to say.
That's true.
So I don't know. You can predict, but I don't think anyone really knows what it's going to do. I really don't. So let's see. Palladium had hit 3K in 20. Yeah, we said that. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the chat here. Dealers are being, Sir Alfred, this is a comment. Doesn't look like it's a comment and a question. It says, dealers are being squeezed over the counter on higher price buyback plus inventory. Who is the buyer of last resort this is a great question. When, if dealers can't keep the lights on? Before you answer that, Josh, the reason I say this is a great question is I actually did a video about this. I don't remember what the number was, but it was basically hey, if silver hits $1,000 an ounce, who's gonna buy it? Did we talk about this even at one point? But
we've touched on it before. Yeah, we can do it again.
Yeah. Let's talk. Well, not everyone sees every video, so they're here, they're live now. Let's respond. Go ahead, touch on that one. That's a good question.
Well, there's I don't know where to start. Here's what I thought of first when you asked the question, who's going to be buying it when it's $1,000 an ounce if silver gets there? Well, quite frankly, I will, as long as I have a market to resell it for a little bit more than that. So, there's always going to be times in the market where dealers in my position, that have retail stores or online stores or whatever, where we're always going to try to keep a fairly consistent amount of inventory on hand. But there's times where it can happen one or two ways, because both extremes have happened this year, quite frankly. I'll go back to March of this year, during the silver squeeze when banks were failing, I could not keep silver in stock. I mean, it was flying out the door so fast. I had so many orders placed by people and paid for, and products that I couldn't deliver because silver rounds, for instance, at that point were on 6 to 8 week delay. So that was a position where I was cash heavy and inventory poor. Well, guess what? Today, it's December 2nd. I would argue that most dealers, and I talk to a lot of them, and I've mentioned before, I'm part of a wholesale, highly vetted dealer group on Facebook that I pay to be a part of, and there's just over 1,000 members now. And we've been having conversations in the group the last few days where a lot of us are in the same boat, where the switch has flipped because of high prices, because of the timing and the holiday season. There's been an increase, more so than usual, of sellers that are selling back to coin shops. So now we are getting inventory heavy and cash poor. So how quickly, fortunes change. In a little over 8 months, it did a 180. So, but to answer your question, who's going to buy it? I think everybody will, but we all are in positions right now where we are getting inventory heavy. And I know many dealers that are shipping off excess product because they can't sell it in the store because customers don't want it. They're not selling it to other dealers because dealers don't want it. They're selling it to big wholesalers. There's one in particular in the Northeast. I can say the name. It's Upstate. They get a lot of stuff dumped on them. So because they're always willing to buy. So a lot of people are shipping off excess inventory to Upstate. And I've been hearing from others that Upstate is really paying slowly right now because they're getting in that situation too, where they're inventory heavy and cash poor.
So you're right. And I think when I did that video, one of the things that I touched on and just used as an example is when the Huntsbrunlers pushed to market in 79, 80 or whatever, people were still buying it. They were buying it back of spot, based on the conversations that I've had with, dealers that were actually around then. Cause I go, I used to go to more than I do right now, but I used to go to a lot of coin shows, talk to a lot of dealers, and, they were buying it, but I mean, they may have been buying 90 or 80% back of spot, but they were still buying it because they could ship it off. I know Silvertown was one of the many, but probably one of the biggest and most well-known of people that were buying everything they could get their hands on, melting it, refining it. That's where a lot of our, classic coinage got melted. A lot of mercury dimes, silver dollars, all of that stuff, walking Liberty halves, all got melted down. They didn't.
Sad.
Yeah.
So sad.
They didn't even bother to go through it most of the time. They were just, so much of it was coming in. And again, I wasn't there. I wasn't even alive yet. But so much of it was coming in that they didn't have the time to go through it. So it was just basically getting thrown into big bats, melted down, refined into pure silver, turned into bars, and shipped out. But the point of me saying that is that, yeah, it was bought a little bit cheaper, but it was still sellable. $50 in 1980, guys, is like $150, $200 today, just to give you an example. So if this is a huge if, all right, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if silver were to hit $150, next week, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. I'm not even going to say if. I'm going to tell you it's not going to happen. But let's just imagine that silver were to hit $150 an ounce next week. There's still going to be people buying. You may only get 120, but 120 is a lot more than the 25-30 you're paying right now. So I don't think you'll be too upset about it. You know what I mean? Well, and
exactly.
And that's assuming that 150 that it gets to is not through the dollar crashing. I'm talking about through normal trading, or, because the manipulation stopped, as some people say, or maybe someone else tries to corner the market. Obviously, if silver got to 150 because the value of our dollar dropped 6 times, I probably wouldn't want to sell it. But that's just me. I wouldn't care at that point. Why would I want your dollars? But if it got to 150 because of what happened in 1980, I'd probably want to sell a lot of my silver. So
right, take profits and wait for the next dip and buy back more.
Exactly. So I guess it's why it gets there that would make that decision as to whether or not I would sell. Here's a good one. Spurfy wants to know, has anyone ever brought a catalytic converter to you and tried to sell it? I know you probably don't buy them.
No, but honestly, I've had phone calls in the past. And actually, interestingly enough, one of the individuals that frequented my shop, just kind of lurched around, never bought anything, just kind of asked questions. And he was one that called me at one point. Yeah, will you buy my catalytic converters? I have a few. And I said, no, I have no way of, stripping the metal and, bring them to a scrapyard or whatever. Well, around that same time, there was a lot of catalytic converter thefts going on in my part of the world, in the, Minot and, Northwest North Dakota, really. Flash forward about 2-3 months, that gentleman that was asking me if I would buy it was arrested. He was the ringleader of a catalytic converter theft ring of about 4 other people, and served some prison time because of it. So I'm glad I didn't buy catalytic converters, but what a low life. But yeah, it's granted, there are people that own the vehicle, and maybe it's a crap vehicle. You can cut off your catalytic converter, and there's a lot of scrap yards around that buy them. But that's not something I will buy. No.
Yep. Mark Godshell just left a comment, says my LCS is being flooded with sellers, kind of like what you just said. He said, so I bought some pre-33 gold. Pick it up on it. Good job. I like it.
Great.
Let's see. I know that I have to scroll because I'm trying to stay up. And so what happens if you scroll down, it sometimes just jumps to the bottom. Then you have to go back up, which is quite annoying. We got 400 and how many people you got watching? 425 people watching right now. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate it. Here's Bob. So this must be another coin shop. He says, my customers are both selling a lot and buying a lot of gold and silver this week. Okay.
Great.
Here's a question. What does Josh think of certified gold, like in my calls the other day? So yeah, what would you pay? Would you pay more for an MS69 Slab Eagle?
Yeah, honestly, I would. A couple bucks maybe. Like the caller or the dealer on the call said, they should be MS69s anyway. That's not necessarily true. If you have an unopened tube of American Silver Eagles fresh from a box, you send it off to get graded. You may, if you're lucky, get one MS70. You may get half a dozen MS69s. The rest will be lower than that. So it's not like they're all supposed to be MS69s. I would say, I don't know, maybe half or a little more maybe would be in a tube or a monster box of Eagles, but yeah, I will pay a little extra because of the certification. I understand the clout that gives to a coin. Somebody else invested some money to have it certified, and that's your insurance policy too, that it's a real Eagle and the grade's indisputable. And in the price guides, they're actually priced out for MS69 versus raw, and they are priced a little differently. So I would pay a few bucks more for a 69. I'm assuming we're talking common dates. Obviously, better dates I would pay even more, but I would pay a little more.
The one I was doing is a 2004 MS69 PCGS slab. When a couple of years ago, I did the coin shop call videos where I tried to sell 10,000 ounces of Silver Eagles. And people, I got a lot, like, it still had like 99% like this like ratio on it, but a lot of people got mad at me in the comments, like, why would you call them and try and sell something you don't have? So like all the videos that I do now, I call and try and sell things that I actually have. That way they can say, hey, listen, because I'll be honest, like, I'm calling around the shops. If I had a shop offer me 200 over for my gold Eagles the other day, I would have probably been like, all right, how do I ship them to you? You know what I mean? Right. So I'm not bothering them, because in reality, if they gave me an incredible price, I would actually sell. But I can't say that for 10,000 Silver Eagles, because I certainly do not have those. Coin Crew says more sellers than buyers at this point in time. I'm assuming he's talking about his shop. Guys, here's a question. Coin Crew is probably the second most frequent guest on my channel. I would love to do this again and have Keith join us as well. That would be really cool. Keith's actually been on the channel before, obviously. We used to do a 4-way chat with Rob and Raven. We kind of fell out of that because our schedules just never aligned anymore. And then once you stop doing something for a while, it becomes easier to stop doing it. You know how that is.
So true.
Yeah, and so, we were trying to align our schedules, and then eventually we just stopped trying to. But I would love to have Keith on here. I think that would be cool. Let's see. Jesse Gomez says, if gold is now tier 1 with BIS, what does BIS mean?
You got me.
Yeah. BIS sounds like I used to play MMORPGs. BIS always stands for best in slot, but I don't know what it means here. Does that make a sort of gold standard on an international stage? Boy, you got me on that one, Jesse. I'd have to know what BIS stands for. Thoughts on Vault Box for hobby? I've never ordered a Vault Box. Have you?
Yeah.
Didn't you do an
ordered
unboxing of one?
Oh, I've done unboxing. I've ordered them all.
Yeah.
I didn't have my channel was in its infancy when I had a Vault Box 1, but
Okay.
I did a video on Vault Box 2, 3, and 4. I haven't totaled up the losses, but I'm probably in the red $1,000 or more because I have not hit a red core yet. But having said that, Vault Box 5 coming soon. I'll probably buy a few of those just to have channel content and roll the dice. But yeah, they are not a good investment for hobby unless you are able to acquire them at the list price and you are able to flip them for much more unopened while people are still crazed and are wanting to buy them. It's the odds of getting red core coins, which are the valuable expensive ones that'll pay for the cost of the box and then some, are few and far between. I'm not saying it's a scam because you know what you're getting into, but not necessarily a good investment unless you're going to try to flip unopened ones, which many people do quite successfully. And I've been tempted because seeing the prices people pay for the unopened boxes, maybe it's 40 to 50% more than we had to pay, on the retail basis. It's been tempting, but instead I've opened mine just for YouTube content, and I've been a big loser so far.
I've thought about buying them for YouTube content, but I don't know. Like, I struggle with buying them because it's not like you're buying a $50 mystery bag and if you get nothing, it's like, oh well, $50. No, they're not cheap. I don't know. Maybe someday I'll do one. So John Smith keeps trying to ask this question, but I don't understand what you mean. I'm going to read this word for word. I'm confused on what he's trying to say here because he doesn't even say MS64 what. He says, ask premium graded coins are dropping fast. Dealers are only paying melt right now or 2100 for MS64 coins. Ask the dealer. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not sure what you're trying to say.
I'm guessing he's talking about either 1 ounce gold or $20 gold.
Well, I would imagine if they're 64s, they're probably pre-33 $20 libs or St. Gaudens, is I'd assume what he's talking about there. So let me ask you a question. This is probably what he's trying to get at. What would you pay for a common date St. Gaudens or 20 lib MS64 right now? Or if you need to look it up and you don't know off the top of your head, that's fine. You don't have to answer. I'm just curious.
I do need to look it up. I'd have to look at my wholesale sheets that I get emailed to me on a daily, Monday through Friday basis.
Okay.
Because those type of coins don't waltz in here very often, so I don't necessarily pay attention to those too closely until it comes time where I have to buy. But I would guess. Well, here I'll tell you this: I did buy an MS63 $20 gold piece last weekend when I was set up at the gun show. NGC certified. I forget the year, but it was a common date. I paid $2,025. Granite gold was about $70 less at that point. So obviously the price would be higher now for a 63. So, I think 2,100 is pretty reasonable, maybe even a little higher for an MS64 right now.
Okay.
Pre-33.
Makes sense. I hope that answers his question. Please don't use all caps, though, if you don't mind, for future questions there, John. I appreciate that. Let's see. There was one under it, and my chat just jumped again, so now I have to scroll up. Let's see. Here we go. Rolando, I hope I pronounced that correctly, says, I got a question for Josh. Speaking of what percentage of 90% silver is left over, what percentage do you think remains of original mintages? So in other words, of all the 90%, let's just say common, Walkers, Benjis, Kennedys, Roosevelts. What do you think still exists? Washington Quarters. What percentage do you think still exists?
Well, that's a great question, and I don't think there are actual numbers we can ever verify. So I know you're just asking for an opinion. I was in my infancy when they were doing all that melting in the early 80s, so I wasn't real attuned to what was going on then either. But just hearing stories, reading articles, gosh, anywhere from 25 to 50% could be gone, in my opinion. I have no evidence to back that up, though. It's strictly an opinion. And that's the problem. There really aren't any numbers. You know, you can argue that with mintages of key date and semi-key date Morgans. And, you know, we know what the original mintage was, but you don't know how many were melted. So even some of the common dates now could arguably be semi-key, but there's no way to know.
Yep.
So it's frustrating, but yeah, great question. Unfortunately, I don't have a clear answer.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, let's see if I can keep this from going. So J-Dog, moderator of mine and channel member, J-Dog, thank you so much. Says, question for Josh. Someone that is opening a coin shop for the first time, what do you think they should have in stock the most? Silver and gold coins, rounds, bars, or a bit of everything? I kind of know what I would answer that, but you would probably have better insight, so go ahead.
Yeah, well, as I mentioned before, I started this business in 2014 with about 50 grand cash, which we flipped into some inventory, and we had some collectible coin that I'm talking my father and I, that we infused of our own into the business to have some inventory. And as I touched on earlier in this live stream, I truly thought I was opening a coin shop that would sell bullion, but I'm truly a bullion shop that dabbles in coins, because bullion accounts for an overwhelmingly amount of my sales. So based on my own experience, and maybe Coin Crew will have a different opinion on this if he's still here, bullion. I would invest it into bullion. I would try to have a variety, if anything, just to have it on display so people understand the different things that are available, because you can always order more. I mean, I'm not telling you need to have 5,000 ounces of rounds on hand and, you know, 10 100-ounce bars, but get a variety of things so you actually have visual things that people can look at, put their hands on, and understand. Because if you do open a shop, you're going to be surprised on how many new people come in with absolutely no prior knowledge of precious metal, how it looks, how it's priced, you know, how they can buy it. You're going to be, you know, inundated with all sorts of questions, and it really gives you a unique opportunity to educate the public in your community. So I guess to answer it in short, get a variety, stick with mostly bullion, and over time, your customers are going to clue you in on what you should stock. You'll learn what sells and what doesn't, and then you can kind of adjust your inventory accordingly. That's what I ended up doing.
Good answer. I couldn't add anything to that. So very good answer. I would like to know, Coin Crew, if you want to leave a comment though. Guys, I do think I'd like to do this again. I'm really enjoying this. We should have a different guest next time, maybe Coin Crew. Maybe we'll try and do this more frequently. I'm not saying every week, obviously, but just something to mix it up instead of, you know, just doing auctions. Let's see. Eric Van Ripper says, I bought an 1890 Double Eagle from Atmex BU. Had to return it once because it was all dinged on the rim, faded writing, and scuff marks. Is BU supposed to be mint condition? BU just stands for Brilliant Uncirculated. Mint condition can be anywhere from MS60 to MS64. Generally, if a coin is slabbed as Brilliant Uncirculated rather than having a number grade, usually that means it's on that lower end. And usually what happens, and Josh, you can fill in if I'm wrong here, but usually you get those grades from people sending in sending them in bulk and just asking them to only like number grade the higher coins because they pay more for those, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So just marked Brilliant Uncirculated is probably going to be MS60 to 62. Faded writing generally is just, you know, weak strikes. Scuff marks and rim dings are very common on pre-33 gold that's marked as uncirculated.
Those scuff marks he's referring to are probably bag marks.
Yeah.
And that's not uncommon for lower grade mint state. It's still considered, you know, uncirculated.
Right.
But it can have problems. You're not going to have a perfect coin like you could in a modern bullion piece that would grade an MS70. There aren't any MS70s that exist in $20 gold pieces.
Yep, 100%. Let's do that holdback video. I think you mean goldback video. Yeah, I've put some thought into that. I have to not make people mad. I have to think about how I do that, because in my Friday video, in my Talking Hands podcast video, I've been doing those every Friday, by the way, guys. If you don't watch those, definitely check in on them. Try and make them a little bit longer, and you don't have to actually stare at the screen. You can just turn on the speakers and listen while you're working or whatever. But anyway, in that video, I said that I should do a video where I called around coin shops and see what they'd offer me for my gold backs, because I do have gold backs. I have 1/10 of an ounce total between all the gold backs that I have, and people are like, well, you need to call the states that actually use them and call the, you know, the places that sell them. Otherwise, you know, like, well, that's kind of not the idea though, because if if I have goldbacks and I'm in the middle of Missouri, but you know Nevada is where I have to go to sell them, that's not going to help me very much. So,
You're right.
but I'm still going to have to think about the logistics of doing that video before I do it. Otherwise, I'm going to make a lot of people mad. I'm not a big fan of goldbacks. I don't know if you are or not. I don't think we've ever talked about it, but it is
Not a fan personally.
Yeah.
I have them in the shop, but I didn't like them enough to take any home for my personal stack. I stock the low denomination, the $1 ones, just as a novelty for people.
right.
I sell them for $5. If somebody brought one in and wanted to sell it to me, now the $1 ones have 1/1000th of an ounce of, I believe it's 3/9 pure gold.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm selling them at $5,000 an ounce for perspective, but
Yeah.
they do sell, and I've sold several hundred, you know, just in the last few months. But having said that, knowing that I can sell them for $5, I might pay somebody $3.50 for it if they wanted to sell one. I don't know what the states that use them, what they're trading for in those states now. I really have no idea. I'm detached from that. So maybe someone in the comments can tell us. I'd be interested. But yeah, there's a market, albeit a small one. And I only stock the small denominations because the higher denomination ones with more gold do really get expensive.
Josh, you there? Oh, okay.
Premium wise. So yeah, I'm here.
It sounded like you broke up for a second,
sorry.
but I got you.
Did I cut out?
Guys,
Okay.
You're fine. You're fine. We got 99% of what you said. It just cut out like the last two words. So,
okay.
So I think I have, guys, I just want you to know I'm like really far scrolled up on chat, and what I'm trying to do is go through the chat slowly so that we get all of the questions. So someone asked a question. I may not have actually seen it yet, just so you know, I'm trying to get there. But there's been a lot of questions in the chat, a lot of interactions. I really appreciate that from you guys. Make sure you smash that like, by the way, if you haven't done so yet. I definitely appreciate you hitting that like button. We really appreciate it. Here we go. S. Willie wants to know, do you have fakes coming in, and is eBay dangerous? I know how I would answer the second part of that question, but I'll let you have
it. First question, yes. I literally had some fakes come in last week, early in the week. I had an individual come in who purchased 10 American Silver Eagles through a social media advertisement. Didn't pay nearly enough for them. That should have been his first clue, but he brought them in so I could verify that they were real because he actually had some skepticism. He started to remove them from his box. They were slabbed, but they're in like a bogus slab that anybody could make themselves. He literally pulled it out and didn't even really show it to me yet. I could already tell it was fake. It didn't have the right patina. Once he pulled it out, I knew definitively. I pulled out my Sigma Metalytic, showed him that it was fake, or showed him that it didn't test 3/9 pure, I should say. And then I pulled out some real ones and compared them side by side, and the difference was night and day. And he was quite uneducated. Fortunately for him, he purchased them through PayPal, and he was able to go back to PayPal and explain the situation. And last I spoke to him, because I ran into him at the gun show this last weekend, was that his credit was processing. So he's going to get his money back. So yes, there's definitely fakes out there. I have way too many fakes in the shop that I got to figure out what to do with, quite honestly, but I got a bunch in the back in a box labeled in my vault that they're fake. Occasionally I'll pull them out because we actually have our local coin club meeting at my shop now. And I'm going to do an education one of these days with those fakes, and then at that point destroy them. But we get all sorts, fake gold bars, fake Morgan silver dollars. I've even had fake 1916D Mercury dimes. I've had fake 1909 SVDB Lincoln cents. Really think of what could be faked. You know, as far as a key date, I've probably had one come in the shop. So I try to purchase those from individuals, but a lot of times they don't want to sell it because they look at me like, why would you want to buy this if it's fake? And now they kind of question, oh, maybe you're lying to me and it's real. It's like, no, I just don't want a fake out there. If you want to keep it, that's fine, but I'd rather it not fall into someone else's hands and have them misrepresent it. So oftentimes people just give me their fakes. Sometimes they'll sell them. Other times they'll go out the door with the individual. So yeah, I see all types. As far as eBay, that's a loaded question. eBay can be a very safe place to purchase precious metals, provided you're purchasing them from reputable sellers. There's a lot of dishonest sellers out there on eBay, though, and a lot of dishonest buyers as well. So I would carefully select who you're buying from. Don't just necessarily check feedback percentage, but check how many transactions were done. Look at actual feedback typed comments that they've gotten. Because I've had several friends of mine and customers at the shop purchase things through eBay, bring it to me to verify it, and then I have to tell them that it's fake. We had that happen with a couple of trade dollars recently. So be careful, buyer beware. But if you can find a local trusted coin shop, I think that's usually your best option for buying things, provided they're priced right. But eBay, it can be both good and bad. Just use due diligence.
That's basically what my answer would have been. Depends on who you buy from, and to make sure it's a reputable dealer, so on and so forth. So I knew you were going to say what I was going to say. Oh, okay. BIS stands for Bank of International Settlements. Okay. So when Thomas Sieben says, when could we see low premiums on silver and gold? I think the premiums are already getting down. Josh and I had a chat, I want to say 6 months ago, where I was questioning if we'd ever see silver rounds get back under $2 an ounce, and we weren't sure. Well, at least not this year, but sure enough, we are starting to see it. It's not exactly there for the most part. Every once in a while you'll find deals, but it's getting there. It's getting there for sure.
Yep.
Let's see.
Gold premiums are down too. We didn't touch on that earlier in the stream, but I'll touch on it real quick if I can.
Yeah, please go ahead.
As I mentioned,
absolutely.
that wholesale dealer group that I'm in, it's on Facebook, and we actually list, excess inventory, and we buy and sell from each other all the time. And that's a nice thing because we can just ship it to the dealer, and without having them pay for it, and they can send us an electronic check on arrival, and it works really slick. So you don't have to worry that they're not going to pay because, like I said, the group's highly vetted. But this week there was many opportunities for me to purchase a lot of gold, especially right around spot. Somebody was selling 1 ounce gold kangaroos for spot plus 10. Somebody was selling 1 ounce gold Krugerrands for spot plus 8. I could get gold eagles and gold buffaloes for spot plus 45, which was like 2.25% at the time. Well below what we can purchase it from a wholesaler for. And you know what happened? Nobody bought it, at least in the comments, because a lot of times if it sells, somebody will comment, sold, and they'll ship it out. We'll see that interaction. But gold's kind of just sitting because everybody's getting inundated with it. So that has actually forced premiums to come down from some of the major wholesalers. And, we mentioned Upstage earlier. You look at Upstage sheets, and actually you pointed it out earlier this week that it is starting to come down on 1 ounce gold because of an excess supply and a reduced demand.
Yep. 100%. So I want to let everyone know where I am. So the timestamp on where I am in the chat is 6:58. So I am 17 minutes behind. So I'm going to try and speed it up a little bit because my plan was only to be on for an hour and a half. We've already had Josh on for an hour, which is longer than I had planned on having Josh. I apologize if it's too long. Sir.
Well, you can kick me off whenever you want. But
no, that's not what I meant. What I meant was I didn't want to inconvenience you that long. People love having you on, so you can stay as long as you want. So
I appreciate talking.
Oh, absolutely. Guys, I'm going to plug his channel one more time since we have so many people watching. Minot Coin and Bullion. You can search for it on YouTube. There's a link in the description below. But search Minot Coin and Bullion. It'll come right up if you don't see the link. And give him a sub, guys. Great channel. Does some cool content. Coin shop owner. And yeah, absolutely. And same with Coin Crew, guys. Subscribe to Coin Crew if you want to see another great channel that has some great coin content that is also a coin shop owner. We will have Coin Crew on doing one of these again here. Maybe we'll do another one next month. By the way, Coin Crew, this is how far I am back. He says, I don't like to gamble on vault boxes. My luck, it would be empty.
That's funny.
Truth. Rolando says, question for Joshua number 2. Can Platinum Eagles coins or bars be faked? And if so, have you come across a story where someone has been scammed with platinum? Obviously, they can be faked, but do you have any stories of fake people being scammed with fake platinum?
No, I don't have any personal experience with that.
Okay. But yes, it's very obvious it can absolutely be faked. Let's see. What sets dealer premium prices? You've kind of touched on that really, because premiums are generally set by here. I'll touch on this. So when you're looking at physical demand and availability, premiums are much more affected than spot price. So like physical sales, like for example, if someone goes into Josh's shop today and buys 300 ounces of gold, that's not going to change spot price at all, not even like 1 cent. However, if all these coin shops are very busy with people coming in like they were March, April, May, where everyone's buying silver and no one has it at the time, that's when you're going to see the premiums go up. So the premiums are set by demand, basically, right? If you want to go
supply
into
and demand, absolutely.
If you want to go into more detail on that, you're welcome to.
Sure. Well, we touched on it earlier when the big frenzy, I guess, earlier this year in March when banks were closing and a lot of people with FOMO were going in and purchasing metal for the first time. It caused major delays because the refiners and the wholesalers could not keep enough silver on hand to satisfy demand that the dealers had to sell to their customers. So then we got delays, 6 to 8 week delays on silver rounds. You're waiting a month for silver bars. Even at that same time, certain gold items were on delay. When that happens, premiums tend to go up. And we're not too far removed. I'd have to look back, and Silver Seeker, you maybe remember, but $5 and $6 an ounce over spot premium on a 1 ounce silver round was common within the last 2 years, maybe in the last 18 months. So now, I'm at $2.50. There's some shops that are more or less fine, but, premiums have come down quite a bit because supply caught up with demand. Now we're kind of in the opposite situation where supply is exceeding demand, and that's why you're starting to see premiums start to come down, both with not only what I can buy it for on the wholesale channel, but what I'm willing to pay for it if it walks in my door.
Right.
So interesting time right now. Even though prices are up, what people are paying is down. Or what dealers are paying is down, I should say.
So you brought up premiums. I actually, as you guys probably know, I track premiums. I don't have 2021 on my sheet anymore, but I can look at all of 2022 and 2023. And each one of these data points, by the way, guys, that you're looking at, this is a YouTube video. So every one of these data points is a YouTube video that I made. And we can look at average premiums on silver rounds. We have June of 2022 at $5.49. That's average of the 5 shops that I was looking for then. Keep in mind, I added Monument Metals probably around August, or it was in August. But $5.49, then $5.20 in July, $5.14 in July again. August was $4.87, September $5.48, November $5.92, $5.46. That was 2022. And then 2023 we had $4.59, $3.49, and then we go into March, we had $4.90, May $4.91, June $4.18, $3.74, and it's coming down. And I actually do line charts to go along with these, so you can see here. I know it's a little bit delayed for you, Josh. You'll see it in about 10 seconds.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's great. You pulled it up so quick. Yeah. And I knew you tracked that because I've watched those videos. So yeah, that just goes to show, how supply and demand impact your landed cost, because it has such a great impact on the premium.
Right.
And as you said, zero impact on spot price.
Yep.
So
100%. This line chart right here. So looking at hard premiums and then percentage of spot. So I track both. So you can see it really jumped up here November of 2022 and then back down. If you look at this data point, this is February 15th of this year. It was 349, and the next one I did was March 14th. It went from 349 to 490, and same at percentage of spot went from 18% to 22.18. And then the last video I did was November 22nd, so just a couple of weeks ago, down to 12.78%. So it's definitely going down. Hopefully it continues to go.
It is, yeah. Bravo for doing that. That's great to see it, in a chart, so it's so easy to understand.
Yeah,
I know that takes a lot of work, so thank you for doing that.
Oh yeah, well, I'm a data guy. I like data, so I also like the character Data on Star Trek, but we won't get into that today. Rogan Bits, this must be another coin shop owner. I have a lot of coin shop owners that watch, by the way. I appreciate you guys, and if you ever want to reach out and be a guest on the channel sometime, love to have you. Email me silverseeker@coolstacks.com. Rogan Bits says currently we're seeing more sellers than buyers, but the price is rising. Are we going to see FOMO kick in with gold at all-time highs? I don't know.
Yeah, I think we are. And, you and I both predicted that.
Yeah.
That, customers, I've said this so many times, when metals aren't in the news, business is kind of sluggish in the coin shop because it's not the new hot, or maybe not new, but it's not the hot, sexy investment. Once we start crossing all-time highs or start seeing, double-digit gains within a month like we had in silver, it gets in the news cycle, and that gets people excited. And those that are been dragging their feet about buying, that's when they jump in, and that's not necessarily the best time, but that's just human nature, and I've seen that cycle happen so many times, and I predict it's absolutely going to happen again. Yep, and it's already started.
Yep.
I sold a lot of gold the last 2 days.
Yep. So I said I don't know, but I was really just waiting for you to answer. I apologize. We had already talked about it.
Well, right, yeah.
So I am currently we are falling farther behind. I'm currently at timestamp 7:01. How am I ever going to get caught up? Oh my goodness.
I'll shorten my answers.
No. You're totally fine. You're totally fine. I mean, this may go longer than I thought it was going to. Let's go. That's all right. That's all right though. Let's see. Here's a question. I have my own answer to this, and I actually did a video about it a couple of years ago. But the Night Hiker says, I have a question. Is 0.9999, so 4 nines versus 3 9 silver, which is better to stack and which is worth more?
Well, from a dealer perspective, at least me speaking, it doesn't matter. They're the same. I mean, you have a minute amount of more silver in a 4 nines pure piece versus a 3 nines pure piece. And quite frankly, if you bring in a 4 nines, let's just say a 4 nines maple leaf or a 3 nines Philharmonic, and you want to sell them, I'm going to pay you the same for either one. So I'm not going to pay you more because it's 4 nines. That's just my opinion. But having said that, why not stack 4 nines if it's the same price? Because you'd get a tiny bit more silver for your money.
If you imagine for every 10,000 ounces, you would get an extra ounce of silver.
There you go.
That was, by the way, what I said in that video is that it didn't matter. And I even referenced that, look, people pay more for eagles than they do for maples. It's, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And it's 3 9 versus 4. Yep.
Right. Let's see. I had someone, this is Bob Lisk, he's also a coin shop owner, says I had someone today come in with silver bars that weighed right and looked normal for the flag looking bars, and all were fake. Oh boy. Oh no. That's horrible. I imagine that all coin shops at least have a Sigma Pro, right?
No. I mean, I do, but
right.
I know of at least 3 other shops in my state that do not have any Sigma. I know one that has a XRF gun, so they can use that. But,
well, if they had an XRF gun,
just rely on. All right, that's better than a Sigma. Yeah. They rely on knowledge and know-how, I guess, is what they've told me. So years of experience, but yeah, I mean, anybody can be fooled. There's a lot of good fakes out there. It's a little scary.
Yep. Guys, I do apologize. I know I'm missing questions. I am so sorry. I am trying to get caught up here. I promise. I'm going a little bit faster through the times. I'm at 7:05 now. It's because I'm kind of like, I'm skipping on stuff a little bit faster. I'm probably going to miss something. Let's see. Hey, Seeker, I'm a new subscriber and glad to be here. Hey, Craig, thank you for being a subscriber. I appreciate that. He says, I have a question. Do you think the prices are up because of all the doom and gloom going on in the world? Why are prices going up, Josh? What do you think? I mean, we've talked about this very recently in a video, but again, not everyone watches every video. So,
right.
What do you think's going on?
Well, spot price is affected by a lot of things. I touched on it. I think we called, or our call on Monday, we talked about it pretty in depth. So check out that video if you.
That's what I meant by very recently, by the way.
But I'll quickly recap. Geopolitical things. There's a couple of world stage countries, Argentina and the Netherlands, that both elected what would be considered populist leaders. People have joked that it's the Trump of the Netherlands and the Trump of Argentina. But there's foreign governments or foreign countries that are starting to reject liberal ideologies. So a lot of people feel the tide is changing politically. Although neither of us like to discuss politics much on our channel, I think that's having an impact. Obviously, economics. inflation, price manipulation by big banks. You can ask me, well, why would it benefit them to manipulate the price up? I don't have enough time to try to figure out how I could explain that in enough words so it makes sense. But believe me, the big banks that do metal manipulation can make money on the way up and on the way down. So that all plays into it. And we've talked even on this stream, there's a lot of factors, or there's a lot of fuel, I guess, that is behind metals right now, just waiting to be lit to take off, I personally believe. But it's starting to happen, albeit it's a little slow, but this could be the start of something big. But I also think there'll be pullbacks coming too.
Yep. And guys, we talked about that in a little bit more detail literally on Monday's video when I had Josh on. So if you haven't seen that video yet, feel free to watch it. That is one of the the things we talked about. I do not have to scroll all the way down to see a super chat popped up. So dropping the mic says, coffee on me, great stream. Thank you so much, guys. I will obviously read super chats right away. I'm not saying you have to leave them. I'm going to catch everything anyway, but I'm just saying those I will read immediately. Thank you so much, dropping the mic. I really do appreciate it for the support. Let's see. Ed Owing says, what do you think of Whatnot with so many sellers selling at a loss? And by the way, I've noticed that. So I'll tell you guys, as a YouTuber, I've actually been reached out to by Whatnot many, many times where they wanted to sponsor the channel. They would actually pay me to advertise for them. They would give me a bunch of credit that I could also use for giveaways. So a certain amount of money and credit that I could do for giveaways. And I've always turned it down. And the reason that I did it is, one, they don't have their tax code in line for silver. Many people complain about, for example, in Missouri, there's no tax on silver bullion and gold bullion, and yet they charge sales tax to Missourians that buy silver and gold bullion through Whatnot. And the guy told me, well, they can reach out, and this may have changed, by the way. This was months ago that we had this conversation, just to be clear. But he said, well, they can reach out to us and let us know, and then we can refund them the tax. I'm like, but why should customers be inconvenienced to have to do that? It doesn't make sense to me. But the other thing is I've been looking on Whatnot auctions, and I have noticed a lot of stuff going way cheap. And I think that's because there's so many sellers on there now. There's so many of those streams competing. So my thoughts on Whatnot is I chose not to. And the other thing I didn't bring up is the fees. The fees are basically eBay. So you're paying eBay style fees, except for you have to be there to do it live. And their tax code isn't in line properly for states that don't do. So that's why I've turned down Whatnot, but I have seen quite a bit of stuff going pretty cheap there. So you guys can pick up some really good deals, but he wants to know, is that hurting or helping the hobby? What are your thoughts on that? Would something like that situation, even if you don't know about it, would things going way too cheap on there be helping or hurting the hobby? What are your thoughts?
It could work both ways. I don't participate in Whatnot. I'm aware of what it is, and know others that do participate in that, both buying and selling. But I've actually had many customers come in and sell to me products they purchased through that platform. And oftentimes they're not making money. So, you say they're maybe, and this was months ago, the last time I remember knowingly buying some things from a Whatnot auction that an individual purchased. But I think you're absolutely right with it was the new thing. And I think the people that got in on it early probably did pretty well. But now there's so much competition, you're flooding the market with similar items. Inevitably, it's going to sell for less. So I don't know. I'm not saying I'm a proponent of it, but I'm not against it either. If you like Whatnot, great. It's just not something I participate in, nor do I plan to. As far as hurting the hobby, it can hurt the hobby, but it can help as well by getting new people in. The harm is, stuff is going too cheap, and then you come into a coin shop and you see the price and you think that they're overpriced and a ripoff. So where indeed they might be, right where they should be based on wholesale costs. Right,
but it's a good opportunity to get some cheap stuff if you're willing to sit around and watch and try and snipe some stuff though. For
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah,
there's definitely opportunity.
Bob Lisk, this is a comment about the Sigma. He says, the Sigma doesn't catch everything. You also need knowledge. I had a fake that passed the Sigma test, and it was a 2015 Gold Liberty. Interesting. So,
wow.
Yeah, the one thing I'll tell you about the Sigma is that always do 2 tests. So test it with the Sigma, and then also that's why I like the Pro, because I use the Pro, is that you can also do the dimensions testing. So if it passes, if it passes the resistance testing and then also passes the dimensions, then generally you're going to be okay.
Right.
So, but yeah, another thing, I tell you what, if you put a 1 ounce copper round on a Sigma as 99 fine silver, it will pass.
I think you've shown that on video, haven't you?
I have shown that on video.
Yeah,
yes,
I've seen that. Yep.
But it will not pass dimensions, so it will pass the resistance testing. But then you put it on dimensions, and it's way too big. Right. Because silver is a denser metal, so you can't see the thing about silver and definitely gold, because all metals have their own density, so you can't make a silver eagle that is the exact dimensions, thickness and diameter, that is not silver, and also have it weigh 1 ounce and sound the same. It's just not possible. So it's going to fail. It may pass 2 tests, but it may pass 2 tests, but it's going to fail past our test 3. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's why I always do multiple tests for sure. Let's see. I'm going really quick through these. I probably am missing stuff right now. So I like metal subscription boxes each month. I have several. This is from a channel member and moderator of mine. He says, I accept that they vary value-wise. As a coin store, do you have any opinion about them? So what he's talking about is so I actually do some through my own website, and I do my best on those, but he's probably going to talk about the big ones, like Investor Crate is probably the biggest name in that field. I know after Investor Crate kind of came into the field, AppMex started doing their auto invest, and I know Money Metals does something like that as well. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, for those who don't have a local coin shop nearby and online is their resource, it's probably a good thing. But I, for one, would, I think I'm understanding this right. I've never done a metal subscription, but you don't always necessarily know what you're going to get. Is that correct? What you're going to pay.
So most of them are based, so you pay the same amount each month, and then they send you silver based on the current, at least this is how I do mine. They send you silver based on the current spot price and premiums. So
sure.
With mine, I subtracted, because they pay shipping. I subtract that, then I subtracted the 3.5% from PayPal, and then after that, I look at all right, rounds are going +3. So after those 2 things are removed, I do rounds at +3, and then I fill whatever is left with 90%, so that they're getting the full value. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. Well, and I think there's some mystery, I guess, for people not knowing exactly what they're going to get. So I'm sure it's fun opening up a box like that. But for me personally, I would, I'm sure it's a good way and a legitimate business model. I have no qualms against it. But for me personally, I would just rather know what I'm getting. And, that's just me.
Right. J-Dog says he subbed to you, Josh, at 7:09. We are now 7:35. I'm 7:09 in the chat.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Let's see. 1 10th ounce gold, the American Eagles are awesome, but by the dip, the premiums are a bit high. The premiums on 10th ounces are always higher than your big stuff. I guess this isn't a question, but I'd assume that's because it takes just as much effort to strike a 1 ounce coin as it does a 10th ounce coin, except for an ounce and 10th ounce coins requires 10 strikes, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But honestly, premiums on 10th ounce gold is low right now compared to where it's been.
Yeah. But I mean, it's always going to be higher than a 1 ouncer.
Of course, yeah. Yep.
Craig with the $2 says, thanks for answering my questions, brother. Craig, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's see. The only reason we keep seeing those ads for fake coins on social media sites is because people keep falling for it, sadly. I have covered these so many times. The last time I covered one of those, Josh, and you probably saw the video, maybe you didn't, they actually used my video and some from Empire Precious Metals and some from...
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they will take these videos. They'll take these videos from other YouTubers, and they will like put them together to make what they're selling look legit. You know what I mean? But people that don't watch those channels, they don't know, and so they're like, "Oh, look, I can get silver eagles at $20. Buy 5 get 5 free." It's like, what?
Hey, why not?
Yeah, I shouldn't be laughing. It's really sad because people are getting ripped off, but. It's it's crazy, and Silver Jackal's right. The reason you keep seeing it is because people are falling for it. They would stop spending money advertising if they weren't getting hits, but they definitely are, and it's sad. Oh goodness. Let's see. Bill Driscoll says, "Gotta go. Michigan coming on. Go Blue. Everyone have a great night." All right. Is that college sports? It's Saturday.
Yeah, college football.
Okay, yeah. I'm not a big sports person except for baseball. I love baseball. I will be a Cardinals fan even though this is the worst year ever. It's not, but it was a really bad year for us, but I still love my Cardinals. Anyway.
True fan.
100%. Dropping a Mike says Temu is the worst. They certainly are. Temu has a lot of fake silver eagles on there, and what's really sad about it is a lot of the people. This is how I see it. A lot of the people buying those fakes off of Temu, they're not buying them because they're getting scammed. They're buying them to scam others. You know what I mean?
You're right. Those end up on Etsy and eBay and local garage sale sites, and it's sickening. It's sickening. It's way too easy to procure fake metal. So, yeah, everybody listening, do due diligence and buy from trusted sources. And if the deal's too good to be true, walk away.
Oh my goodness. All right. So guys, I am going to try and fast track here. Oh, Ida's in the Ida was in the chat. I don't know if she's still here. Hey, Ida. Guys, Ida Herring, great person, wonderful lady. She does, Josh, I don't know if you know about this. Do you know about Ida's auctions? Her charity auction?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So I'm gonna put this on here since we have a lot of people watching. Ida Herring does once a year. She does a charity auction for St. Jude's. Now I know a lot of people are concerned. They're worried. Oh well, we're gonna buy all this stuff and then she's not gonna donate the money. Let me tell you how awesome this lady is. She auctions off all the stuff. People send it in to her. She adds her own stuff. I sent some stuff in last year. I'll be doing it so again this year. This is how she does it, and this is such an incredible thing because you don't have to worry about any of that. How she does this is she actually sets up a charity, because you can set up your own little, not charity, but your own little giving campaign or whatever, or charity campaign on St. Jude's website, right? Like directly through.
Mm-hmm.
And then she can see all the people that donate to it. And so what she does, rather than being, the middleman taking the money and then having to have people trust her that she's making the donation, she just has them pay directly to St. Jude's. She looks on St. Jude's website to see if they've paid, and then she sends them the item. How awesome is that?
That is awesome.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry. No one can say that, oh my gosh, she's just going to keep half the money or she's going to keep all of the money. It's a scam, because it's 100% being paid directly to St. Jude, and that is really cool. And last year, they raised over $20,000.
That's wonderful.
It's wonderful. So, guys, if you're not following Ida yet, please get over there. When is your next one? I'm not going to see this because I'm at 7:17 in the chat. I'm trying to go faster though.
I'm watching it. She says here and thank you. We'll see if she answers. I'll see it in real time or close to it.
Okay, good. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway.
We are still taking donations for March,
and they're still taking donations for March, guys. So really, really cool. And again, the best part of it is you don't have to worry about anything fishy going on, because it's what I mean. It's awesome. It's the best. All right, here's a good question. Stacking Benjamin says, also, why are LCSs I do have within a 2 to 3 hour drive, several are closing? Some say that no one is collecting now. Is that a thing? So I'm assuming that these are shops that opened up as coin shops that sold bullion, but they really still wanted to be a coin shop, and there's probably not enough business. Josh, let me ask you this question. Would you be a viable business if you only sold coins?
No.
Okay.
Not in my market. No way.
Right. And I imagine that's going to be not everywhere, but I imagine that's going to be the same in a lot of places. So I would bet a lot of those that are closing are just not into bullion as much as they need to be to stay viable, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Did Ida say anything else?
Yeah, Ida said $26,701 raised last year.
Nice.
Taking donations through March 16th, and their goal this year is $50,000.
That's amazing. I hope they hit it. That's just wonderful. All right. So does Josh take e-checks? I skipped ahead, guys, to 722. Woohoo! We're getting there. We're making up time now.
I do. Yeah,
Okay.
I take a deluxe e-checks through the deluxe e-check platform. That's how our wholesale dealer group typically pays each other back and forth. It's real easy. You send me the electronic check through that platform, and I can print it out and deposit it that same day. It's real simple. So yeah, I do take electronic checks through deluxe e-check.
Right. UFOs, no joke, says, why not reward 4 9s with an extra dime? More bees with sugar, right? I think the reason for that, and you can answer because you're the coin shop, you're the bullion dealer here, but the reason is no one's going to pay more for it, right?
True.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So why would you,
including me,
yeah,
when you bring it in, or on a wholesale level?
Yeah. So that's yeah, exactly. So I mean, no one's coming into your shop's gonna want to pay more for it, and when they sell it back to you, they're not going to get more for it. So why even? and not to mention so the difference between a silver eagle and a silver I gotta get a calculator now. Hold on. The difference between a silver eagle and a silver maple in silver would be 1/10,000th of an ounce. So that would mean you would be paying $1,000 an ounce for that dime. You would be paying $1,000 an ounce for that extra 0.9 at the back of the coin.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, goodness gracious. All right. So let's see. I'm trying to scroll ahead here really quick. eBay takes 8% plus 30 cents / item they sell. Whatnot is what percent? I know it's really high. I know I remember looking at it and thinking it was basically the same as eBay. I'm really scrolling fast here, guys, because we do need to start wrapping this up. I'm at now 7:32. If I missed one of your questions, I will be doing this again. Our next guest may be Coin Crew, but we'll have Josh on again in a future one as well also, but we'll switch it up next time we do this. Maybe I'll have a different coin dealer on, and I don't know, maybe every time we do these, we just have a new coin dealer on, or maybe we have 2 in one show. I don't know. I think this was a lot of fun, just having a coin dealer on the live stream. What do you think? How do you think so far, Josh?
I think it's going great. I'm enjoying myself.
Awesome.
Hopefully the viewers are as well.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're enjoying yourself. I really appreciate you being here. I really do. Let's see. I'm scrolling really fast. I see some deleted messages from my awesome mods here. It's like strange. Okay, all right. I'm not reading the rest of that. If one is buying over $1,200 Fed dollars in precious metals, one might want to invest in a Sigma metals indicator and / or a simple coin pinger. Yeah, so the ping tool, guys, is a great way to check silver. Earlier I had already said that it's not going to pass all of those tests. So if you have a pair of calipers, a scale, and a pocket pinger, you can test 1 ounce eagles, 1 ounce rounds for the most part, but specifically any sovereign coins. So maples, eagles, cougarans, philharmonics, kangaroo, so on and so forth. They all have an exact diameter and an exact thickness, and they all make an exact sound. So if they weigh right and the dimensions are right and they pass the ping test, that's a good coin. So he's right. Even just picking up a pocket pinger, or honestly just a plastic Bic pen, and get really good at balancing it on the tip of your finger, and download the ping coin app, and you're good to go. There's probably a ping, if you guys want to get a pocket pinger, there's probably an affiliate link in the description. You guys can pick one up. Ooh, man,
I'm glad you just said that about the pinger.
What's that?
I'm glad you just said that about the pocket pinger with an affiliate link on your page, because of your videos, I've had many customers recently asking if I sell pocket pingers in the shop, which I don't. So yeah. I'll have to let them know now. There's a link on Silver Seekers channel. Use that link. Pick one up.
So the pocket pinger guy is super, super nice. And I can't give full details on this just yet, but I do know that he is working on a tool, because the Pingcoin apps on iPhone and Android, they're all over the place. Some of them you can't install on newer versions of Android, so on and so forth. There's different ones on. Anyway, his company is working on an official ping app to use with, or just a Bic pen on your finger, but an official Pingcoin app that's going to be used. You'll be able to use to test all of your coins and stuff. So when that's available, I will absolutely be letting you all know. But
great.
Yeah, Jim Downey is right. The pinger does not work with bars. So that is correct. That is correct. It's it works very well for sovereign coins, like I said, but not so much bars. And by the way, I just skipped all the way down to the chat because what we're going to do here, guys, is we're going to start winding this off. And so if I missed your question, which I'm sure I missed one or two, I do apologize. Save it for the next time we do one of these. Maybe in a month from now, we'll try and do these one a month or whatever. So let's go ahead and wrap it up, I think is what we're going to do. Josh, is there any final thoughts you would like to share with everyone watching?
No, nothing really specifically. I think we talked about a lot of interesting things today, and I appreciate you having me on and letting me join you all this evening.
Oh, man, it was a pleasure to have you. I really appreciate it. If you guys are just getting here, if you're later in the stream, this will be available to rewatch on the channel, so feel free to do so at your convenience. Be sure to go check out Josh's channel, My Not Coin and Bullion. Make sure you check out Coin Crew's channel, Coin Crew. And like I said, we will try and have other dealers on here as well. We'll try and do these more frequently. This went really well, and I appreciate you guys being here, watching and listening. A huge thank you to my mods for holding the fort down. A huge thank you to my channel members for supporting me directly. You guys are amazing, as well as all the people that left super chats today. You guys are awesome as well. A huge thank you. Here, you know what? Before we go, I will answer one more. Is it really cost prohibitive for most U.S. dealers to ship to Canada? Yes, I ship giveaway wins to Canada, and I have many people from Canada have won my giveaway wins. I'm one of the few channels that will ship out of the country. I know not some others do, but a lot don't. Yes, it is expensive. Like a 2-ounce padded envelope to ship a 1-ounce silver, 1-ounce silver coin to Canada is like $15. Not even kidding. So yeah, it is absolutely cost prohibitive. So, yep. Every time someone from Canada wins one of the giveaways, it costs me more than I had planned on. But that's all right. I'm happy to do it. Anywho, we're going to let it go there. Guys, again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you to my channel members. Thank you to my mods. And thank you to Josh for joining us.